Hi, Aquarius. I hope you guys are doing great today. So we're going to be doing your general message for the 8th through the 22nd. I'm going to start with the astrology. I'm going to timestamp below in the description box. Start with the astrology, go into career and money, go into those of you who are in a relationship and coupled, and then I'll go into relationship for those of you who are in separation. Okay, and so let's get right into the astrology. Let's just get a lay of the land, what's going on here. So we have a lot of stuff going on. I want to leave the last week of October all by itself. I'll address that next week. But right now for you, Aquarius, lots of new beginnings. I'm just looking at your chart here. Lots of new beginnings regarding education, anything like learning, anything new, personal interests, your beliefs, your mental and emotional outlook, anything having to do with publishing, right? Because you have everything's going on in that beautiful ninth house. Sagittarius is the landlord in the ninth house, ruled by Jupiter. So you have Libra is sitting in that ninth house for you. You have the sun in there, you have Mars. You have Mercury retrograde. Mercury is going to be coming out of retrograde with Jupiter coming out of retrograde on the 18th, but I'll get to that in a second. So there's a lot of energy in this ninth house of, again, publishing, marketing, advertising, launching something, higher education, your belief system, your religious views, your spirituality, your moral code, your moral compass, dealing with anyone having to do with a foreign land, having to do with foreign travel, dealing with people in other places as well. So it's a big house. And it's also ninth house actually has to do with the law, has to do with the in-laws as well, for those of you who are in that kind of situation. But your ambitions are going to be really, really fired up right now. And you're going to be very pumped to learn something new, or maybe even get into something that's going to give you some sort of competitive edge in something. So great, great energy to pour yourself into some sort of project that you know at the end of the day is going to end up advancing you. It's going to end up getting you somewhere, and you're in a great position to just annihilate obstacles that are in your way, which is really good. Lots of problem solving energy that's going to be going on here. Absolutely. Lots of problem solving energy. So I like that. Now, again, Mercury's retrograde until the 18th, okay, in that energy. So if you've been feeling like your belief system has been challenged, or situations have been like sludge when it comes to being able to communicate or advance yourself in anything regarding communication in this ninth house, that's finally going to start to lift. But remember now, when we have any kind of energy going, stationing direct, whether it's Mercury, whether it's Pluto, whether it's Saturn, whether it's Jupiter, everybody's doing that this month, the energy is super heightened the day that happens. The day, actually the day of, the day before, the day after, it's almost like take that challenge, that energy, and bring it up to an amped up level. And then it starts to kind of go forward. So it's just something to keep in mind. And I want to say that because I'm saying 18th, yeah, it's coming out of retrograde. That doesn't mean that everything's going to be smooth sailing on the 18th. The 18th might actually be very emotional, all right, a very sensitive day, especially because it's going to be going direct with Jupiter. Not this doesn't mean a bad thing. It just means it may be very emotional for you. What else did I want to mention? So you might need to correct some sort of technical problems or deal with delays or confusion about your next step, though, up to the 18th, or even, including the 18th, having to do with this next step in whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're trying to start a business, launch anything, whatever it is, whatever you're moving into, you may have to like pull back and be like, okay, what's really going on here? So you might be waiting for some new information that could be really annoying, but it could be really useful in the end. Great energy, great. When you're having all this energy in the ninth house to revise, to edit, to rethink something, anything like that, it's going to end up working out better for you. Remember, Mercury retrograde, it happens half the time, because if we didn't have Mercury retrograde, we would just keep going. We need the retrograde sometimes to just sit down and say, okay, let me look at this again. Is this, can I handle it a different way? Anything like that. Now, on top of that, Saturn is also turning direct in your sign on the 10th. So this can definitely nudge you forward for sure. It can help you with a lot of self-discipline, right? Because Saturn is about responsibility and it's about structure, and it might fuel your confidence to face reality and make better decisions for moving forward as a result. Because that's what Saturn is. I mean, Saturn, you want to think about Saturn as a very wise, like grandparent, right? A wise old grandfather in the sky. sometimes I just, in my mind's eye, and this is silly, but I view Saturn as Santa Claus, right? Where it's like, well, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing, kind of thing. But then if you do everything, then you kind of get the gifts, right? So it's sort of like that. So you're going to be feeling this forward movement, right? In that house of self, for sure. People are going to be seeing your best qualities in a really favorable light. And let me be more specific. It's almost like people are going to be noticing an improvement in you, where they're going to be seeing you differently, where they're going to realize these talents, gifts, and abilities that you have, or they're going to be realizing your intellect. They're going to be realizing things in a very sort of, improved way. And you could be feeling a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm around your interests. A piece of news or promising prospect comes in that's really going to excite you, or at least it's going to move you in a really positive direction. There could be some recognition for work that you did in the past, or a lot of you, right? Something coming back from the past, or excitement about the revival of a favorite dream or plan. Because remember, that same day we have Jupiter coming out of retrograde. So Jupiter is all about dreams and fortuitous circumstances and expansion and moving forward with integrity. So since he's been in this kind of this retrograde stuck motion, it's not that he hasn't been doing his thing, but it's like in the space of creation. And now that he's coming out of retrograde, you're going to be able to finally feel it there. So you're just going to be looking at everything around you with a lot more confidence and positivity, which I really like, because you've had a lot of heavy energy in that house. I mean, that is how, Saturn and Jupiter together, that's no joke. So you can experience, for a lot of you, very strong desire to just break out of whatever you're doing, like wanting to break out of routine, whatever you've had. Like if you've been in this thing where it's like, your schedule has been crazy busy and it's just been full of responsibility, you're going to want to break out of that mold. You're going to want to break out of that routine. That's such an Aquarius thing. But it's through what you learn, and it's what you do and where you go, that you're very focused on doing something different, learning something different, or improving on whatever it is that you're involved in now. You're very brave to try new things right now, especially if you've been feeling a little trepidatious or feeling a little vulnerable or insecure about approaching something. There can be a lot of developments relating to anything having to do, like I said, with publishing, that education, even transportation, right? Because Mercury retrograde, Mercury rules that, Mercury rules the Gemini, which rules is all about transportation, that third house, right? That third house and ninth house work together. So not only will communication be lightening up, if you've been having any sort of snafus with your technology, any issues with transportation, any issues with your, again, technology, your car, even anything going on in your neighborhood, anything like that, it's going to end up lightening up. So you're definitely going to have an expanded vision of what you want to experience and achieve in the future. Very ninth house stuff. That's a very common energy. When the ninth house is very congested and it starts to decongest, suddenly you have a very expanded view of the future. It's very easy for you to see long term. It might not have been so easy for you to tap into that long-term vision. And because of that, you're going to be really well positioned to set some really fabulous goals. Now, the full moon on the 20th, this can definitely bring deadlines, lots of busy errands, lots of paperwork. All of these things are going to be brought to your attention. So if you've been avoiding your daily affairs because you're very busy over here, it's time for bringing more balance back to your life. So I feel like a lot of you have been hyper focused, like on something or in a particular area, at the expense of other things, and not because you're choosing to, but because it was sort of what life was calling for you to have to do right now. So now the energy, since you're going to have that decongesting going on, to find balance in your day to day. So communication, making connections and networking, transportation, anything having to do like that. Changes are going to be happening there, having to do with making connections, communication, and something to do with transportation. You might be going on some short-term trips, having to do with some sort of short-term travel for sure. But it's a time of heightened awareness of your need for a smooth flow in your daily affairs, so that you can feel freer to take advantage of a lot of the good things that are going to be falling at your feet right now in order to expand where it is that you want to go. So this is an energy of you. You're going to have opportunities to learn more, to grow, to expand your audience. For those of you who are you know, dealing with some sort of audience, or those of you who have some sort of clientele, if you're in that space. And just generally speaking, just widen your experience. So I like that for you. So that's what we have for as far as the astrology goes. Okay, let me just move my mouse and my mouse pad over there. And we're going to get right into money and career first. Again, then I'm going to go into relationship, 2 different relationship reads. I'm going to be doing a separate focus relationship read probably next week, where I'm going to be talking more in depth about singles and all the different things having to do with that, right? There's just not enough time to do everything, all the different iterations of situations that go on in life. Remember, these are general messages, Aquarius. So take what resonates, throw out the rest. Don't try to make it fit if it doesn't fit. And you really want to check your rising sign, your moon sign, and your Venus sign for the clearest messages, okay? So let's lay down a Celtic cross spread. Then I'll drop the screen down so you could see what we're doing. We got an Ace of Pentacles. So there's some sort of new beginning having to do with either it's a new beginning or you're working on a new beginning. It's where you're at. It's where you're at, right? But your challenge right now is the Page of Wands. So there might be something going on that's some sort of offer coming in that you're very interested in it. You're very interested in it, but maybe it's not as glammy as you would expect, or as much money as you thought you would hope for, as much money as you hoped for. It still appeals to you, though. It definitely does indicate some sort of new something coming in, right? Because the page does indicate a new cycle, want, will, passion, motivation, right? So this is definitely telling me, though, that this is some sort of good news about a project that requires some sort of negotiation. It's a very busy time, but an offer does come in. And again, though, while again, it's going to appeal to you, but there's something about it, and that's serving as a challenge. There's something about it that's maybe not exactly what you would like or what you expected. Again, but it's still going to appeal to you in theory. But as always, please make sure you definitely read the fine print in some sort of situation. But you are the Ace of Pentacles right now. I mean, you're in this space where, you know, new things are happening for you. This is really nice, very auspicious energy for pretty much every area of your life, to be honest with you, right? This really has to do with happiness and contentment and getting what you really want coming to you quickly, right? Or you're at least shown how to do it. And you're shown how to establish a foundation of stability for yourself. Like, this is a very, very fortuitous energy where you're going to realize things are sort of just rolling out in your favor. But again, whatever is rolling out, you might be like, oh, all right, okay, I'll think about it, right? So yeah, I mean, Knight of Cups coming into this for sure. Some sort of Knight of Cup energy, some sort of proposal coming in here for sure. That really speaks to your heart space, though. Absolutely. Now, this doesn't only have to do with career, guys. This could have to do with anything that involves money. Not everyone's working. So this could have to do with a lawsuit, an insurance payout, some sort of inheritance situation, retirement, anything having to do with the stock market investments, anything like that. So I can see some sort of offer coming in, but you being like, all right, so maybe somebody's offering you some sort of money to invest in a business and it's not exactly what you were hoping for, or somebody is offering to purchase your home or your business and it's not exactly what you were hoping for, or there's some sort of settlement coming in, but it's still good. It's still really good. Okay. But for a lot of you, you're in this Four of Swords space, and this is working with the Ten of Pentacles, which is very positive. But what I see here is that a lot of you may be in this space of kind of stepping back for perspective, kind of pressing a pause button, but really trying to figure out a better approach moving forward regarding some sort of situation that you're involved in having to do with money. Saying, okay, you know what, let me just let me step back and let me just assess everything and figure out a better strategy for moving forward regarding this career, regarding this situation that I want. Because again, something may come in where you might have to step back and think about it, which is not a bad thing because, you know, after all, the current situation is the Ten of Pentacles, which tells me that you're growing. You're growing here. I mean, this is a Mercury and Virgo energy, Aquarius. This is really nice. This, for a lot of you, this has to do with maturity of your finances. This could be the maturity of a connection regarding a business connection. This could also have to do with family. So some sort of family investment, some sort of family business, some sort of inheritance situation, shared values, shared property. This is also an energy of inheritance, and this idea of sharing. So again, this money coming into you from somewhere and you thinking about it, and however that would manifest for you. What does Spirit want you to understand is that you're in an Ace of Cups space, my friend. This is beautiful. This is great. This is a new beginning for you. This is all about growth, and it's a very creative energy too. So something that matters a lot to you is going to be coming to fruition, having to do with career or finances. And when energy that's separate from you, right, external from you, that you're dealing with within this situation. So this could be a boss, a coworker, a family member, an investor, just the general situation that's surrounding you. Four of Cups indicates restlessness. This is a moon in Cancer, feeling very emotional about something moving forward. Cancer has to do literally with home. Emotions is the moon. So somebody may be feeling very emotional about selling that family home, if it has to do with inheritance, or if it has to do with some sort of situation regarding an investment of a home. So you might be dealing with a spouse or a buyer or a seller, right, where their emotions are getting involved in the situation and they're feeling very disillusioned about it, or there's this energy of restlessness, right, that you're needing to deal with, having to do with somebody. Now, your internal psychology and your internal block right now is the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is very much, but this is your challenge, is in feeling like you can be a very free spirit right now, to be honest, right? I mean, this is a good energy to just express yourself and go after what you want and not allow the idea of something needing to be perfect to get in your way. Now, some of you might be challenged by a King of Wands energy, which would be somebody who's really smart, right? They have very high standards. They're very open, very self-aware. They're they're very talkative, they're very respectful, they don't judge people, by they judge people on the content of their character and nothing else. But this person might be challenging you right now. This person might be, you may feel like, yeah, they're a really great person, but they're being really, really picky about me being perfect versus not being perfect, or they're being very picky on something needing to be perfect, that contract, that sale, that whatever it is. They're a great person, but they might be in the space of really expecting perfectionism when it comes to something having to do with finances here. So it could show up as that. So either you're expecting perfection and it's showing up as a challenge, or somebody else is of a situation or of you. So in the near future, we have the Page of Swords. So right, the page always indicates a new cycle. So the Page of Swords is some sort of useful information coming in. You're getting help from people around you to further your ambition. So again, this could be some sort of contract, agreement, somebody coming in to help you, an offer of a job, anything like that. But you're in a really good position here, Aquarius, where you're using your air very, very well, right? Because this is you very much relying on your intelligence right now and being able to sit down and very clearly look at things, which I like with this Four of Swords as well. It's like, okay, what's going on here? Let me figure things out moving forward. Oh, very interesting. We have the Six of Cups as the final outcome card. The Six of Cups has to do, it's the Sun and Scorpio energy. And Scorpio is about endings and beginnings. It's about change. It's just about transformation. This is the landlord of the 8th house. So remember that 8th house, when we're talking about money, when we're talking about finances, this has to do with the buying and selling of investments. It has to do with inheritance. It has to do with insurance payout. It has to do with your partner's money, right? It could have to do with something maybe even having to do with the stock market, right? So, but there's some sort of change there, or some sort of focus, because it's the Sun in that energy. So it might be some sort of focus there. About bringing harmony to a situation, any of the situations that I just indicated, where harmony is brought to that legal situation, particularly for those of you who are waiting for some sort of lawsuit to settle, right? Because the way it works with the houses when it comes to lawsuits, the 6th house is the lawsuit or the inheritance or whatever the paperwork, the beginning part of the paperwork, the practical part, that's 6th house. Then 7th house indicates the energy of the person that you're dealing with, right? And then the 8th house indicates the payout for whatever's negotiated in the 9th house. I hope I didn't confuse you. But in order to understand how these things roll out when it comes to paperwork and when it comes to negotiating and buying and selling and all this, it's not only one house, it's technically 4, right? From beginning to end. So what happens in the 8th house in this Scorpio energy is what's paid out. So what are you getting in that divorce settlement? What are you getting for the purchase of that home? What are you needing to pay out? Are you needing to pay out a debt? It might even be that, right? That's the end of the eighth house is also taxes. So it could be that as well. So anything there, I see there being a focus on some sort of change for a lot of you, okay? Now, others of you, you may be in this space where if you've been in some sort of situation regarding finances or regarding something in your career where you really do believe that you've suffered some kind of mistreatment, things are going to get better. There's going to be balance found, which is very nice. Now, even if that doesn't resonate, even on the other hand, some of you may be experiencing this revisiting to a job, revisiting to a project that you did once upon a time in a different way, so that you could now, tweak it or revisit it, with a different energy and it going much better. So some of you may even be hearing from an old boss or an old friend or an old colleague that you worked with at one point, and they're like, hey, why don't we do A, B, and C together? And you're thinking back, oh, well, that last time I'm not sure, but it being a better go this time. And some of you might even be getting help from somebody from your past as far as what it is that you're trying to manifest for yourself right now. So I have to tell you, nothing but good stuff, seems to be rolling out for you guys as far as this. So very nice. What I like about this for you, Aquarius, is that it's very clear to me that you're getting help from other people in a way that's very supportive. That's very supportive, and not in a way where it's like you owe anyone anything. You know what I mean? It's not like that. Like somebody who's very excited or very interested or very sort of on board to be in a very agreeable space with you regarding career or money. So that's really good. All right. So now let's get into some energies for those of you who are in relationship. Okay. So let's pull a Celtic cross spread. Okay. Oh, start now. We have the Eight of Cups, and that's being challenged by the Queen of Cups. So some of you may be wanting to move away from a situation. It's the right thing, but that challenge may be your fear of feeling grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. You may be afraid of security. Okay. We're going to pull all the cards and see what's going on here. All right. I feel like I'm going to see it when I do this. I'm going to be. Hello. All right. So we have the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is very emotionally intelligent energy. It really is. It's recognizing that something that felt right at one point doesn't feel right anymore. Now, this could also have to do with a mindset, right? So let's say some of you maybe were like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I'm really good by myself. I can't seem to find anybody where I honestly feel like our belief system is in alignment. Maybe we don't share the same values, the same views on life, something like that. I don't need anybody. It could be recognizing and having the emotional intelligence to be like, that's not healthy. I'm never going to get where I want to get in relationship if I maintain that mindset. So I need to walk away from that. A lot of you are going to be in that space. Others of you, if you're in relationship, you're in this space more of recognizing like, this doesn't feel right for me anymore. And it's kind of like a sadness, but no regret, recognizing that what it is that you ultimately want is not going to be met in this relationship if it continues the way it is now. And I want to emphasize that because this is still a minor arcana. So minor arcana means that it doesn't have to be long-lived. Your challenge here, the challenge to this situation to you right now is this Queen of Cups energy. Now, this is a Gemini and Cancer energy in astrology. Gemini rules communication and Cancer has to do with home. So there might be a lot of communication about moving in or moving out of a home, but it could also have to do with the metaphorical understanding of the Cancer energy, which is about feeling grounded and rooted and safe and secure, and having that conversation about what's needed in the relationship in order to feel that way. And that's the challenge. The challenge is you may be in this situation where you're feeling like my needs are just not being met. My belief system, it's not being respected. So some of you may easily be in that space. Now, coming into this energy, we have the Page of Wands. Now, you might be dealing with somebody who's very immature when it comes to relationships. Could be, right? The Page is the young'un of the court, and Wands are will, passion, and motivation, but it's also a phallic symbol having to do with sex. So somebody who's very either very much a player energy, that's going to resonate with some of you. Others of you may be dealing with somebody who's just not very emotionally intelligent, where they're a great person and they're very smart, but they might not be very self-aware and not very mature when it comes to relationships, right? So a lot of you may be in that space. Some of you also may be in this space where you just want to break free and you just want to maybe be in something else. You want to break free and maybe date other people, or maybe even just be alone and just work on yourself and just express yourself and be out there. And just a lot of you, I'm feeling this very, I'm feeling a very stifled energy as I'm reading, as I'm reading this spread. So some of you may feel very sort of, well, look, I mean, we are in retrograde season after all, but you may be feeling a lot differently by the end of the month. But anyway, for now or up to this point, I feel like a lot of you may have been feeling like almost like a get me out of here kind of card, kind of energy rather. Now we have the Six of Cups. It's showing up for relationship. A lot of times this can indicate reconciliation as the basis of the situation. So if you guys are in a weird space, and you could be together and be in a weird space. So you could be together and feel like something is very unfair in the relationship, and you being in this place where you're very ready to mend that, right? If you feel like you've been unfair to somebody else, you want to mend that. If you feel like you've been mistreated, you want to mend that. Because there's an element of nostalgia that's indicated here, and this desire for harmony, right? And this desire to at least reconcile. For those of you who are together, nobody broke up or anything like that, but this energy where there needs to be this reconciling of something, either within you or within the relationship as the basis of the situation, but it's regarding the idea of collaborating together, coming together and being able to build. So there's something I feel like hanging that you guys really need to talk about, whether it has to do with your belief system, whether it has to do with how you guys feel about moving forward, maybe where you move. This could have to do with anything from, because I'm thinking third and ninth house axis that are getting decongested for you. So either where you live, your belief system, and when I say belief system, however that resonates with you, just this ability to come together and move forward together as a couple. I feel like there's a sticking point, a very palatable sticking point that needs addressing in this relationship, but the energy is available to collaborate and come together. That's the Three of Pentacles energy is nice. It's Mars and Capricorn. It's come on, let's go. Fresh path, a new perspective. Let's work together. Boom, let's go. There's something that needs to be discussed. Very nice here is Spirit's giving you the advice of the Fool. And the Fool, this is a Uranus energy. This is all about let's shake this up and do something different. This is changing the way you guys relate to each other, changing how something, this is necessary in order for you, for this relationship to work out with any sense of smoothness, with any sense of camaraderie and feeling like you're in the right thing. Something needs to change. Now, when we're talking about Uranus rules you guys, right? It's very out of the box, very different. So there might need to be some sort of conversation that takes place having to do with maybe you need to do things a little differently. Maybe if you're living together, you're still going to be together, but maybe you live separately, or maybe you move into separate bedrooms, or maybe you guys start going to therapy, or maybe there's this idea of just, there's got to be some sort of change here, doing something different, out of the box, unconventional, in order to make the relationship work. But I do see whatever energy you're dealing with, they're all about it. They're all about it, Aquarius, because look at this. We got the sun. And the sun is about growing a beautiful connection, but it's not like, okay, you wake up and everything is, unicorns and butterflies. It's the sun puts the tools in our toolbox that we need in order to work things out in a relationship in a way that's going to improve the situation. And that's the sun. And this is the person, this is your partner. This is the person external to you. right? So they're all about working it out, working it out. Remember, the sun rules Leo, which is that fifth house of romance. I feel like you're dealing with somebody who really wants to bring that back or get it going in the first place. You might be dealing, if you're not in a relationship right now, like with this person's in your energy, but you guys are in a weird space of figuring it out, you're dealing with somebody who very much wants that with you, right? But now your challenge is the Six of Pentacles. How interesting. Now, for some of you, money might be a thing. You might be working through some sort of family situation, some sort of inheritance situation, some sort of property situation as your challenge, where you don't feel very like supported right now, having to do with the finances. So you may not feel very supported within this relationship having to do with finances. Or even connection, because Pentacles is not only about money, it's about mental, physical, and emotional connection. So you may feel this sense of lack, like they don't have your back. Now you have to ask yourself, is that based in reality, or is it your insecurity and vulnerability? Like, are you asking for them to have your back, or are you letting them know that you need to be supported? Right? Because the Six of Pentacles, when it's in a positive position and not as a block, it's about, I have your back, you have mine. We help each other out with money. We help each other out with connection. It's about being there for each other. But because it's a pentacle energy, you can indicate where you feel like there is no reciprocity when it comes to finances, where you may feel like everything sort of falls on your shoulders, or you're trying to grow your money. And and I hate to say this, but this is part of the reality of life. Relationships can be expensive, right? And especially if you're trying to build a business, or you're trying to advance yourself, you may be in this space where you very much want to be with this person, but you're concerned about finances right now in some way or another. If it's not that, it's the idea of connection, right? Looking at general reading. So looking at both ways that we can understand a pentacle energy. Now, in the near future, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so I kind of feel like that's a thing here. Because the Nine of Pentacles is very much about you working on yourself, you working on independent endeavors. You may be very focused on your education, advancing something within your career, launching something, advertising, marketing, getting something out to the greater population. And this could be something that you're very, very focused on right now. And it may be impacting your relationship. But I feel like this is going to end up being a good thing for you, because as Aquarius, I just feel like a lot of you have been working on yourself really diligently in very subtle ways, where you've been working on your education. A lot of you have been working on building your money, figuring out your belief system, right? I mean, just with Saturn and Jupiter in your energy, you can't not feel those things, right? So so there's going to be this release, this decongestion. So what ends up happening here in the near future, as that energy decongests, as it's going to, you're going to feel a lot more kind of like, okay, I'm ready to meet that healthier connection for some of you, or I'm healthier to be an updated version of myself in this relationship. Right? Maybe you've been together for years and years and years, but you're going to feel like a different version of yourself. And what I like about it is that we have the Six of Wands as the final outcome energy. And this is a deepening of communication. This is great conversation in love. You guys, there's empathy, there's understanding. And this is about you being appreciated in a different way, and you having appreciation for them as well. So not to sound campy or anything, but honestly, like that's what the cards are telling me. Let's see what else we get. So we have the King of Swords, staying very in the mental, not allowing your emotions to rule the show, right? Because I want some more information on that Six of Wands energy. So that King of Swords, yeah, staying very in your mind, not allowing your emotions to kind of come in and wash over and get in the way of anything. And it's just staying very practical about making sure that it's understood that you want to establish a very firm foundation in your life. So it could be something like, okay, partner, you need to understand, I love you, or you're not in that space. I really want to be in this, but my energy really does need to be over here because I'm really trying to create a firm foundation for myself moving forward. Some of you are going to resonate with it like that. If not, some of you may be very in your mental space, right? I'm not going to allow my emotions to get involved. in the way of anything. And the Four of Pentacles can mean you're protecting yourself because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt. For some of you, it could be both. But that's, the Four of Pentacles is like, I have to, and it's not about being cheap. It's about, I want to make sure that I have money moving forward so that I could, invest in A, B, and C and have money and have a comfortable life. Or, I need to handle this very carefully, very gingerly, because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get sucked into something that I'm going to end up getting hurt in. Clarifying the Four of Pentacles is the Empress energy. Yeah. So there's a lot of focus on this idea of growth. The Empress is the mother of the tarot, right? She's straight up Venus. Venus is a money planet. It's also having to do with love, obviously. It's also self-esteem and being able to grow and have, right? This idea of having. This idea of having. Okay, so clarifying the Empress energy, we have the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is about commitment issues, confusion, choices, things feeling up in the air. You're definitely feeling like you're at the beginning stages of a new cycle here. There's no question. But there's this idea of confusion. This is a Venus and Scorpio energy. So you might be changing something having to do with your money that's thereby impacting the relationship, or there might be changes going on in the relationship. But there's this confusion and like, I'm not sure. I want this, but I have these other commitments. And then we have the Four of Cups energy, which is this idea of restlessness, feeling like, are things ever going to just go smoothly? Just not feeling, maybe even feeling rather apathetic about relationships, being like, I don't know. I don't even know what's worth it anymore. I'm just not sure. But you have to look underneath that a little bit, right? With the Four of Cups energy always calls for us to understand that if we're feeling restless, if we're feeling even a little bored, if we're feeling even a little apathetic about anything, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, there's this idea that we have to look at something that's not being addressed inside of ourselves as well. Like, why is this issue bothering us? Why are we feeling this energy? What are we expecting that's not being delivered here? What's in the way, right? Because what may feel like the main issue may not be the main issue when we're talking about the Four of Cups, right? But whatever it is, you're feeling rather. Four of Cups could also be kind of like a finger pointing energy. This, and I sometimes those of you who've been watching me for a while know I often call it the checklist card, where it's like, this isn't working out because of A, B, and C, and I can't be in this relationship anymore because of this, this, and this, and this, this, and this. And I'm saying that especially because clarifying that is the Hangman, and the Hangman is Neptune, very smoke and mirrors, very sacrificial energy. So you could feel like, if I stay in this, am I going to end up sacrificing or martyring myself for something that at the end of the day, I may not end up getting what I want? Do I have to sacrifice my belief system, my money, where I want to go in my life? Feeling very sort of like pressing the pause button, trying to think about these things. Clarifying that we have the Two of Wands. So this tells me that there are two aspects of the situation that you have to figure out, and you have to figure out which is going to best bring you the happiness that you want. I mean, this is very much a, should we or shouldn't we kind of thing. Now, it could be, should I be in this relationship or not? It doesn't have to be that. It can be for many of you, but you might be dealing with something within your long-term relationship where there's a decision to be made. Should we have a baby or shouldn't we? Should we get married or shouldn't we? Should we buy that house or shouldn't we? This idea of should we or shouldn't we, right? And that fourth house, you have that Uranus energy in there that's retrograde in Taurus. So there could have been something very shocking coming up, having to do with the idea of home, having to do with moving. And so that could be playing into all of this as well, right? This idea of moving or living situation. But what I like here is that you're going to end up picking, whatever it is, the right thing, because clarifying the Two of Wands is the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is about family and contentment and a deepening of commitment and a deepening of love and a deepening of communication. So I feel like whatever situation is going on here is going to end up working itself out, but there's got to be this conversation. There's got to be this communication. And if you guys have been in a relationship for a long time, I think that the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are not good days to have this conversation. No. The 10th, 11th, the 12th, if you're talking about stuff from the past, thumbs up. If those days don't work in your schedule, or if it doesn't feel right to have the conversation, then wait until Mercury comes out of retrograde. And the closer you can push it out until the beginning of November, even better. Right? Because that post shadow retrograde, once it stations direct, it needs about 10 days to unknot itself before the communication can go smoothly. But definitely not. I know this is for the 8th through the 22nd, but the 6th, 7th, you're hearing this probably before then. The 6th, 7th, the 8th and 9th, not good days for communication. Let things ride. Okay, please let things ride. Definitely, because then it could end up bringing a lot of arguments, right? Having to do with belief system. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay. So let's get into those of you who are in separation. Okay. So I'm going to pull some separation cards. So I'm going to pull 3 of these, and I'll pull a couple of tarot to clarify and a couple of oracles, and we'll see what's going on. So you guys aren't together, but you're still in each other's energy. Very common request I get, guys. That's why I'm addressing this, right? People want to know what is going on with this person. Some of you maybe have been ghosted. Some of you maybe did the ghosting. Okay. So I'm not even kidding. Okay, before I even look, I cheated you out of real love. I ghosted you because of my own insecurities. Now, this could be you towards them or them towards you, right? In energy reads, it makes sense when we're talking about energy. They can't tell. And the energies can't tell. It becomes very enmeshed when we're talking about very close connections. So that's why we say it could be vice versa. My recommendation is always kind of sit back and listen to the whole message sort of holistically. You're going to know how to apply the messages if it's your reading. Okay, so let's pull a couple of clarifiers on I cheated you out of real love. I ghosted you because of my own insecurities. 7 of Cups is the first one up, right? 7 of Cups has to do with that commitment issue, confusion, choices, things being up in the air, not being sure if this is the right thing, right? It's that Venus and Scorpio energy, feeling the change. I don't know. And then we have the Fool energy. So we have choices, and then we have something different. So the Fool is going in a different direction, right? Really sort of maintaining another path. So they're very confused, but let's pull one more here to see, okay. So the Page of Cups indicates to me that this would be a new cycle, right? Having to do with emotions. This could indicate them meeting somebody new for some of you. For others of you, this is their desire, even though they're confused. They very much want a new beginning with you, because the Fool is about, all right, how were we doing things before? Let's do things differently. And the Page of Cups is this new offer coming in. Page, again, indicates a new cycle. Cups are emotions. So it's almost like, I feel like for a lot of you, they were confused, and now they're coming out of the confusion. They're realizing their insecurities. They're realizing where maybe they cheated you out of something. So the next card up, the thought of you with somebody else drives me crazy. Okay. So we have, oh, look at this. We have the 8 of Swords in the reverse. I like this because this tells me that there's a relief coming. This idea where they want to come together and find peace with you, where they at one point were questioning whether they belonged in this situation with you, whether this relationship was right. Maybe they were experiencing a lot of anxiety at one point, thinking things were never going to change, but they don't feel like that anymore. They want to have this coming together. They want to have this peace with you. And then the 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups is about celebratory energy coming together. But 3 is also the number of healing, and it's the number of creation, and it's a very supportive energy, right? Very supportive. I don't know, Aquarius. I feel like somebody very much is in the energy of wanting to get back with you. The final one we have here is, I still feel deeply connected to you, but I won't admit it. Okay, going back to somebody being a little emotionally immature for some of you, okay? Okay, check it out. 2 of Swords. They are not comfortable being like that, though. They're not comfortable. 2 of Swords is this is a Moon and Libra energy. It's like, I don't know. Do I feel this way? Do I feel that way? They're in an emotional stalemate when it comes to you, but it's like you are in their energy. This is not going away. They feel very defensive for some reason of themselves. They feel very defensive of their beliefs, or very defensive about something that happened in the relationship. This is very interesting to me, because it's like, on the one hand, they're admitting their insecurities. They don't like the thought of you with somebody else, but they don't want to admit how connected they still feel to you. Okay. But they're not able to escape your energy, and they need to communicate this. They need to stand their ground, say what they think, and let the cards fall where they may. This is really what they have to do. It's bothering them. The Two of Swords is very much of being bothered by it. Like, I want to defend myself. I know this isn't going away. Those of you who know astrology, this is like a quincunx energy, or an inconjunct, otherwise known as, like, something has to be done. There is this tension that needs addressing. You can't sweep it under the carpet, or they can't. Okay. The Empress energy. This is straight up Venus. This is love. This is about expansion. This is coming together and creating whatever it is. Oh my gosh. So this may specifically be what they're at this crossroads about. They could be a crossroads regarding the relationship, the Venusian energy of love. This could also have to do with having a child. This could have to do with anything that you guys were speaking about specific to your situation that would mean that you are growing, maybe getting married, or getting engaged, or moving in together, or buying a business, or doing something together. They're very across purposes about it. Let me pull one last card. Ace of Coins. Beautiful. I mean, this is a very auspicious energy, and it's not about things just sort of landing perfectly at your feet. Pentacles is not only money, it's mental, physical, and emotional connection, but this incites this new cycle that I'm feeling for you guys. But figuring out now what's necessary to make it work. It's more like having the information available to bring forth what's necessary to manifest what it is that you guys want. So let's see what oracles show up, right? Let's pull a couple of wisdom of the oracle before we close out. Happy. Can you guys see that? Happy. And that sounds cheesy, but you got to understand that's a powerful energy. Because what does happy mean? Happy means vulnerability. Happy means allowing whatever happened in the past to be looked at and discussed and addressed, because there's a strong desire for forward movement in a better way, right? In order to be happy, you have to be able to do that. So there's willingness here. And then we have new life, doing things differently. So a lot of you, this is the energy that is available. There is a lot of new energy, but a lot of reconnection energy as well. A lot of epiphanies, okay? A lot of epiphanies going on. Let me pull a couple of oracles specifically for you, Aquarius, here, okay? Even having to do with this situation. Because look, they could want this all they want, but if you are not in that same space with them, what's the point, right? So let's pull some oracles just for you. Accept what's dying. Be decisive and begin to explore. Okay, listen. So for a lot of you, their desire to have something revisited in a way that they're comfortable may not be attractive to you at all. And a lot of this energy, where it lists this Page of Cups and this Three of Cups, which is all about creation, you may be like, no, I'm looking to get into a whole other relationship. It depends on where you're at, but there's newness here, and there's this need for you, Aquarius, to accept what's dying, be decisive, and open yourself up to exploring something differently, right? So for some of you, it's, leave the past in the past. You have to be decisive in that idea and figure out together if this is worth revisiting. Others of you, though, I do feel like you're going to be leaving the past in the past and going and meeting somebody else. But there is this leaving the past in the past, and I do sense that this energy is still feeling a lot of emotions for you. So it's always up to you. At the end of the day, we're not puppets. we are gifted with the human condition of choice, but this is the energy that's available for you guys. All right. I hope this was helpful for you in some way. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.